built a masterpiece. Learned the ghetto gospel after moving ghetto D. Had to bring it to the lake for the world to see. Yeah, I'm about it. I think I'm Master P. Feel like the last dime. I built a masterpiece. Learned the ghetto gospel after moving ghetto D. Had to bring it to the lake for the world to see. These rappers rap about it. I really live this shit. I was scraping up the block. I plead no innocence. Living war rules a profit from my arrogance. So I teach the truth, living by commandments. Spirit game strong, yeah. Mitrion with the fringes. Had to circumcise my heart and show you how I'm with the business. It's all fall back and know about Revelation. Chapter 2, verse 9, the synagogue say. I teach my people bloodline, but we stiff as
All right, all praises to the Most High Yah. We can go ahead and get started here as soon as you like to.
Okay. First of all, I like to give an appreciation and a thank you, a huge Toda Rabah to my my Aki Pincus, who has invited me to introduce myself to you guys. My name is Achi'Ka Dawid. I am your brother. My name, Achi'Ka, is a name that I took upon myself instead of a more or a rabbi or any of these other titles that people have. I rather gave myself a title of Achi'Ka. Ak means brother, and Aki means my brother, and Achi'Ka means my brother, your brother. So I'm your brother, and I'm happy to, be able to come and teach today. And I was asked to teach a class, and so I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I've been in this truth for probably about 7.5 years. I am a teacher, and I teach Hebrew. I'm a Hebrew teacher. I am at one point they called me a rabbi. I do go sometimes by a rabbi, depending on what capacity I'm operating in. Like I do, funeral services. I do, all those different types of things that they call upon people to do. So I officiate, funerals and that sort of thing. And a rabbi basically is just someone who is, I would say increased, because it comes from the word rav, meaning to be increased. And then the B is my increase. So that's what a rabbi is somebody who's my increase, my head, the one who takes upon himself to have information. So when you talk about someone who's a rabbi, there's somebody who's supposed to be able to go to get information from. Okay, it's just a title, but even as a man of your house, you're considered a rabbi. I don't know if you guys know that, but you are a rav, and a rav means the head. So if you look at the Hebrew word for rav, and I'll share something with you, a screen right quick. I'll write it up here for you. In Hebrew, they use the letter resh, and they also use the letter bet. Okay, and if you notice, it's called the rabbi. Okay, a rabbi. So that's called the rav right there. Just put a little here like a rav. And so that letter or that word by itself, it means increase. Okay. But when you look at the Hebrew word or letters, they mean something. Okay. So here, I don't know if you can see, it's paused. Let me resume my share. Let me get rid of this right quick and reshare. It's a great way to open it up. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen with you. Can you see it? Okay, so this is what you call the Hebrew alphabet chart. Okay, it has on it a script right here, and there's the picture graphs. Those are ancient picture graphs, because that's how they wrote way back thousands of years ago. Okay, and that's why they call it early. And then it gives you the picture, the name of it, and then they give you the name of the picture, right? This is what they call it. And then they give you the sound. And then later on, you have a middle script. And script is just a way that they write something out. And in here, this is what they would call the paleo, so you got the paleo. All it is a middle age script, okay? And then you have a later script, which they begin to get into some different adjustments and changes. And these are very close, the early Aramaic script, okay? And then after that, you go into this modern script. how they write things. And so they changed the script, just how it's written. So what you can see over time is that it went from an ox head, and then it went over to this, which still looks like an ox head. And then you have this, but they converted it to this. And then as time went on, they changed it to that. Okay. So the definition of the letters never changed. The name may have changed. So it went from all to aleph. That's all. Okay. It went from bet to bayet. Okay. Gam or gam to gimel. Dal to dalit. So one is early, one is modern. What I don't like about the modern is the fact that they want you to rely upon names and how things are pronounced. You know, aleph, bet, gimel, dalet, hey, vav, zayin, ket, ted, yod, all these different things, right? And what you do is when you say, well, I know the aleph, bet, and I know all that, but do you understand what it means? In the ancient, all the names and all the letters that we had were described by things that we can see with our eyes, things that you can smell, things you can taste, and things you can touch, and things you can hear. So it used all 5 of our senses. Okay. So when we got this new language, we speak stuff, but we don't have any idea what it means. For example, in English, they might have one word that sounds the same for 2 different meanings. Like I say, bear. What does that mean? Is it the animal, the bear? Is it a bear being no clothes, or is it, or the bear to hold something? So there's 3 different meanings for that. I say 2. You know, is it 2 somewhere, or is it the number 2, or is it 2 emphasized with an exclamation? What is it? You see? So when we read the Hebrew scriptures, everything has meaning and definition. I just wanted to share that with you. Okay. What we also have too, as I said, that a Rav, because that's where I went to this chart, is to show you what a Rav is. Okay. So we got 2 letters, which is the Resh, which you got right here. Hopefully you can see it. I might have to try to expand it a little bit. It's a great word to open it with. Let me see. Let me get it right there. All right. So this is what it is. The Resh is nothing but a letter R. Okay. That's what it is. It's a letter R. Okay. And it's written like that. Okay. And it means what? It means the head of a man. That's what a Resh is. It's a head of a man. Right. The next letter that we had was a bet. So let's look at that and look what that is. A bet up here is right here, a tent, a floor plan. And this is what it looks like. And this is what it looks like in all its different ways. Right here, it looks like that. And then in Paleo, it looks like that. In the modern Greek, Aramaic, it looks like that. And here's the modern right here. Okay, early Aramaic and then modern Aramaic. So you can see it's changed over time. Okay. So when we put those 2 letters together, like I said, if I put a Resh right here and it's called Rav, okay, that means to increase. That means to be very multiply. Okay. And then they got another bet. And then they have what they call a yod right here. And that's the word for rabbi. R, transliterating A, B, and I. Okay. So what is that? The Resh is right here, which is R. The A is a vowel that you put in. The B is the bet. The other B is the bet. And the yod is the I. Okay. And basically what it means is that you are the head of your dwelling, which is your house, your tent. That's how you become a rabbi. So if you're the head of your house, you are a rabbi, which means you and I are responsible for the increase of knowledge to the house. Okay. So we're the ones who are responsible. Okay. It doesn't fall, which we're going to talk about a little bit today. It doesn't fall on just the mothers. The mothers are supposed to disseminate the information from the head of the house to the mother to the children. because that's the order that Yah has specified. That's how it happens. Okay. Can a woman be a rabbi? Yeah, she can. She can. Um, Sarah she was a mistress. She was what they call it a mistress, right? So we got a negative thing about a mistress, right? But Sarah was what you would call it. She was a master. Okay. She was a master. Do you guys remember when the Most High expressed us and told us that he told, she went to Abraham and said, hey, you got to get rid of this woman. And what's the first thing he said? She's your servant. You do whatever pleases you. So she mistreated her and she ran off, right? And then she went out to the wilderness, and a Malak met her and said, he said, what are you doing here? She said, oh, my mistress is treating me bad. And he told her to what? Go back to your mistress, go back to your master. Okay. So our women are masters. They could be masters over their house. See, they have servants too, by the way. That's our culture. Okay. I speak about this because when we get into our study today, I want to just share just a few points with you. And I'm open for questions, which I really love, because oftentimes we hear someone teaching to us and we never get a chance to ask questions, which one of the things I hate about the people that I talk to, like on Facebook and on YouTube, they never give anybody an opportunity to ask any questions. And so in Hebrew, one of the words that represents questions, okay, is called, I'm going to share it with you right quick. Let me see here. I'm going to show you guys something. Share my screen. Boom.
I'm actually glad that you're bringing that point out, because our brothers who say they're in this truth, but who really believe in the New Testament and all that, they try to teach our people that women are to be quiet and this and that, not allowed to teach or speak among men. And
yeah, that's crazy.
So
yeah,
I'm
that's
glad
not
you're bringing that out.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love our occultes, right? Our sisters are occult. Our sisters are the foundation, okay, of our community. So we can't ignore them. Okay. They're okay. I got so much, guys. So forgive me if I'm all over the place. Forgive me. What I opened up to say is that in Hebrew, by the way, there is no punctuation. There are no question marks. There are no exclamation marks. There are no periods. There are none of this. Okay. None of this. These things don't exist there. Not in that form. Okay. They do exist, but they don't exist in these symbols. Okay. They exist through what you would call words. Okay. Which I'm going to share this word with you. Okay. I stated that I want you to ask me questions. Okay. One of the reasons why it's good to ask questions, because questions help you find out what is unknown. Okay. So the word that is used for question in Hebrew is called ma. Okay. Like manna, when we were in the wilderness and they had to eat manna, right? They eat manna and they were like, what is it? They were asking a question. What is this that we're eating? It's called mana or manhu. What is it? Okay. And so the Semitic pictograph of this is a picture for water. Okay. It's waves of water. And this picture has the meaning of liquid, water, or the sea, any type of liquid. Okay. It could be blood. It could be water. It could be the sea. It could be rivers. It could be anything. It could be massive from the size of the sea and chaos from the storms of the sea. To the Hebrews, the sea was feared and it was an unknown place. This is one of the reasons why they're using it. For the reason that it was used is to ask a question, because anything that's unknown, you can ask questions about. Okay. The who, the what, the when, the where, the how, and in a sense of searching, okay, for what is unknown. That's why I said that you can ask questions. Now, when I say that you can ask questions, there's a reason why I said you can ask questions. The reason is because there's a Hebrew word, and you probably heard it before, is called kok. Okay. It's a compound word. Okay. Kokma. Okay. And if you don't know what this word means, it means wisdom.
Wisdom. Right.
Yes. Got it. Kokma is wisdom. Okay. So let me break it down to you what wisdom is. Wisdom is not an abstract thought. Wisdom actually has some concrete meaning. Okay. So what it is, it's wisdom. Wisdom is called kokma. Kokma is divided into this word right here. The word kok means power in Hebrew. Power. Okay. And ma means what? Okay. So basically what wisdom is the power of what? That's what wisdom is. It's the power of what? It's the power to ask what? It's the power to ask questions. So in essence, if you are wise, what you're going to do is you're going to inquire. You're going to ask questions. If you don't ask any questions, you just let someone teach you something, you never ask any questions, that's not wise, because you're not trying to search out the meaning of something. And Yah tells us that I want you to have wisdom, I want you to have knowledge, to know, and I want you to have understanding. Okay. So I want you to know, I want you to inquire. So wisdom is inquiry. Okay. That's wisdom, is to inquire, to ask questions. The power of knowledge is to know. Okay. And in Hebrew, to know means that you give eye witness to something. And it's called da'ath. And da'ath means da'ath. And don't tell me, well, I don't know Hebrew, so why are you talking about it? Doesn't matter if you don't know it. I'm telling you today. You know it now. Da'ath. Okay. D-A-A-T-H. Da'ath. And that is for knowledge. Okay. And the Hebrew on that is a D and a ah. Okay. And when we look at our little chart that we have here, go back. Oh, where is it at? When we look at the Dalet, it's the fourth letter in the Hebrew language, and it means a door, a tent door, has a D sound, and it looks like this. Okay. The next letter that I told you about is called an ayin. It looks like this. This is called a root word. So what do we have? We have this root word called the Dalet. So the Dalet in the eye. So it means the door of the eye. Okay. So we got a door and we have the eye. When you put those two together, it's called the door of the eye. And what is the door to your eye? If you had to figure there's a door on your eye, what would it be?
Brain.
Here's my eye. What are these?
Eyelids.
Your eyelid is your door. You can open your door or you can close your door. You see, these are the doors to your tent. Okay. That's what it is. Okay. They're literally the doors to open up. Okay. Just like your ears are doors too. They hear things to let things in. So you got to be careful what you're looking at. You got to be careful what you're listening to, because this is where you're supposed to put your guards at. You got to guard your mouth. You got to guard your ears, your eyes. You got to guard yourself, right? So when you guard yourself, you're guarding what's in here, because this is where Yah takes his residence. He takes his residence in your mind. That's where he abides. He abides in your mind. Okay. We like to say he abides in our body, but that's not true. He abides in your head, in your brain, right? So back to what I was showing you, when I talked about da'ath, I'm just saying here in Hebrew, the door, and then I told you the eye. Okay. Very simple. So knowledge is da'ath. Okay. Meaning the door of the eye. And the door of the eye is basically visual observation. So if you grab knowledge by what you see with your eyes, they're not gonna lie to you. You know, sometimes we see stuff and we try to act like we didn't see it, or you caught something but you thought you didn't see what you saw. You know what I'm saying? It's the door of the eye. Your eyes are the ones who will tell you the truth. They won't lie to you. They will tell you exactly what it is. Okay. And that's what knowledge is visual observation. That's how you get knowledge, is through visuals, observation, watching something. And then when you talk visual observation, you're looking to measure things, you're gauging things, you're weighing things out, what you see. It's called measurement. Okay. You're taking measurements. You're very measured in what you're saying and what you're doing. Okay. So what do we have so far? Well, we have Kokma, which is the power to ask questions, which inquiry. So we got that. So that's what you is. You got the power to ask. So you use your mouth for that. And then you got knowledge. You get knowledge through visual observation. So you use your eyes for that. See, so you so far you use your mouth and then you use your eyes. So you got wisdom and knowledge. Okay. Now, the last one is understanding. Understanding is called Banah. It's a bet. And it's called a noon. And I'll put it in English for you as well. Okay. Banah. So B A N A H. Okay. In Hebrew, the bet is the B. The N is the noon. And the hey here is the H. Okay. And all they do is just put little ah sounds in here. Ah, Banah. Okay. So what does Banah mean? Well, the root of this, which is this letter, these two letters right here, is what? We got the bet, which means a tent. It's where you live. It's inside. Okay. And this means to build. Okay. That's a tent. And this right here is called a noon. And that's called a seed. And it means to continue, because that's what you do with a seed. You plant it so it can continue to grow. All right. When you think about a man, the man carries what? What does the man carry versus the woman?
Sperm.
Yes. And his sperm is called a what?
Seed.
The seed.
Seed.
And so what does the man do with the seed?
Plants it into the woman.
And so the woman is the what? She's the ground. She's the soil. But she's also the one that puts, if she's, listen to what I'm about to show to you. The bet is like this, right? You see this dot right here? Okay. That means make a hard B sound. That's a grammatical thing, but I wanted you to understand something. The bet is a tent. It's like a stomach. It's like somewhere you dwell in. When the baby comes into and the seed is in, it stays inside of the woman, inside of her. Okay. Then she secures it and she protects it. Okay. That's what happens. Okay. The word for bane means son. The same bet and a noon means son. So our root to build has to do with building children, building a family. Okay. That's what the word bane means. B-A-N. They call it B-E-N, Ben, or, but it's pronounced Bane. Bane is a son. Okay. All right. And a daughter, okay, she's called a Benoth. Benoth. Or here it is. God, I'm writing in so many different ways. See, I told you I'd be messing up.
I noticed you writing
right to left. Yes.
Right to left.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you in Hebrew, you write this directly.
No, I heard we was the only ones that go left to right.
Yes. And English is this way. Hebrew is this way. Okay. So I'll say something this way, and then I'll interpret it this way.
Yeah.
So I'll write it this way, and then I'll spell it out this way. See? Right. So it's just the opposite. All right. So a daughter is called a bath, like taking a bath. Okay. In Hebrew, that is what? This letter right here is a B. It's a bet. She's a tent. She's a tent. Okay. And when she has a family, in order to build a family, the seed has to continue, and that's called a son. Okay. So the idea of wisdom is to inquire, to ask questions. Once you make your inquiry, after you inquire and asking a question, that's wisdom. Okay. So it's inquiry, asking questions. The next thing you're going to do is make a measurement with visual observation. So you're going to measure, say, okay, so how much do I need? You know, now that I asked a question, I'm figuring out what I need now. I got to pay attention to this. So I'm going to got some measurements. Once I get my measurements, right? Forgive me because my finger is, you know, writing on like a computer pad. I wish I had a better writing material or tool. Okay, so it's measurement. The next one is to build. That is understanding, because you get your word called banah. So kokma is wisdom. It's wisdom to ask questions. Kokma. You already know how to say wisdom, so I don't have to write it up here. You know how to say wisdom, but now you learn what wisdom, how you say it in Hebrew. Kokma. Coke, like drink a Coke, and then ma. So it's the power of what? Asking, what is it? What's the question, right? So ask questions. Measurements. That is visual observation, and that's called da'ath. Da'ath. The dot, the dalit, which is the D right there, is the door, and the ayin is the eye, the door of the eye. You can always remember that because you have a door with an eye. You got an eye with a door. Okay. Okay. So, and then the next one, banah, is called building, right? Banah is to build. Banah. Banah, like, okay. Banah, right? To build what? Build whatever it is. So step number one is to ask questions. Step number two, visual observation, see what you need. After you gather everything you need, then you begin to build. You can't build nothing without asking no questions. If you don't have the measurements, how could you build? You see? So we need all of this in order for us to be able to be successful in our walk with the Holy One of Israel, because Yah doesn't like stupid people. Okay. You said, man, that's pretty harsh. Why would you say that? Why would you say that Yah doesn't like stupid people? Are you insulting us? You just got to this class. What are you doing? Are you trying to hurt our feelings? No, I'm going to tell you what the Creator says. That's my job. My job is to tell you, what did the Creator say? And what did he say? All right, let's look at it. In the book of Jeremiah, okay, what I mean by when Yah says he doesn't like stupid people is because he says his people are stupid, okay? And he says it, and that's what he's, and he says it more than one time, by the way. He says it all the time. Is my people don't reflect, they don't know, okay? So listen to this, what he says. Jeremiah chapter number 4, he says this. It is because my people are foolish. Okay. My people are foolish. They do not know me. Okay. They are stupid children. Okay. And without understanding. Okay. They're wise when doing evil, but they don't know how to do good, because number one, they don't ask any questions. They don't ask questions. They don't seek counsel from the Holy One of Israel. That's the first place. If you go right over to the second and the next chapter, in chapter number 5, he's going to say something again that's going to blow our minds. Okay. I know these are things you probably read before that you just never really, you know, said, well, why should I think about it? Because there's something in it that Yah is trying to tell us. He's communicating with us and letting us know that, guess what? There's a problem. My people, we said you suffer because you lack knowledge. You lack knowledge. Listen what he says. it says this. I'll begin in verse number 18. But even in those days, says Yahweh, and of course they got Adonai here. By the way, Adonai is not his name. His name is not Adonai. The Christian people put this in here. The Jewish people put this in here because they don't want you to know his name. His name is Yod, the Hey, the Wah, and the Hey. That's his name. And it means the self-existing one. His name is not Ahaya. His name is Yahweh. Now you could call him Yahweh or Yahovah. You could call him Yahweh. You could call, some people call him Yahweh. Whatever which way you call it, just understand it. It's the Yohe Wahe. And he declares this. Okay. Is he getting us on because we don't pronounce his name correctly? No, he just wants us to know what it means. And basically what it means is he exists. That's what his name means. He exists. That means that he doesn't die, and I am the one who created everything. I am existence. Everything that you see, touch, feel, smell, taste, handle is because I exist. That's the reason why you exist, because I exist. I will not completely. Yes, sir.
I was saying, can you pronounce his name again for me?
Oh, I've always pronounced the just the letters. So I go Yo Hey Wahe.
Yo, hey, Wahe.
Yep, because he calls when he declares that, and I'll show it to you. He declares that. He says, "This is my name forever," and then he declares it in front of Moshe, and so he says, and he mentions these letters, Yo Hey Wahe. That's what he says, and I'll show it to you. Okay, after I tell you this, he says, "I will not completely destroy you." Okay, he says, when the people ask you, why has Yahweh our Elohim done all these things to us, you are to give them this answer. Okay. So now there's someone who's seeking to get somewhat wisdom to understand why has Yahweh done all these things to us. He says, you are to give them this answer. Just as you have abandoned me. Where am I? Yeah, just as you've abandoned me.
Serve strange gods.
Serve God, strange gods in your own land. So likewise, you will serve strangers in a land that is not your own. So Yah's doing just the opposite, you see. So he's saying, you abandoned me. You left me to serve strange gods in your own land. So now I'm going to have you go serve strangers, because the strange gods go with the strangers. Because when you get to the strangers, you're going to serve their gods in the land that is not yours. Since that's what you want to do, I'm going to send you there now. Because every god that's outside of Yah is strange. Every god out here that we have in contact, he knows I'm going to send you to serve wood and stone. But when you get there, that's what you're going to do. But every god teaches people how to behave and what their conduct is. You know a person and what God they serve by their conduct in the life in which they're living. You know exactly what kind of life they're living by their conduct. Okay. So he says that's not, look, a land that's not your own. He says, announce this in the house of Yaakov and proclaim it in Yehuda. Hear this, you stupid, brainless people.
Oh.
Okay, so that's the second time. Okay, and he's irritated. And he says, you have eyes, but you don't see. You have ears, but you don't hear. Question, don't you fear me?
I noticed that Adonai kind of sound like Adonis.
Yeah, it's like Adonis, or yeah, they put Adonai, and Adonai means my master. But they thought they were saying, well, his name is too holy to pronounce, so let's just put this name in there in place of Yohe-Wahe. Because when you go to the Torah and you go into the scriptures of the prophets, you will see, and that's in what, 22? You will see that they don't use the name Adonai. They use the name Yahweh. Okay, so let's go there right quick. Jeremiah chapter number 5. And this is on BibleHud.com. When you go to Jeremiah chapter number 5 and we go down to 22, they will show you that he doesn't use the word Adonai. He uses the letters, which I told you was the Yohe Wahe. Okay. And he says to me, this is what he says in 21. Look, he says, Shemu. We're reading right to left. He says, hear now this. Shemu. That means Shema, means hear and listen. And then the U is they, you guys. And it's an imperative. It is a command. Okay. He's commanding them to listen now. Nah. And it doesn't mean now, it means please. That's what nah means. It means please, not now. This people are sakal. And sakal means to be foolish. Okay. But sakal also means that if you look at it, this letter right here, without going too deep into it, means to, they usually call him a kasel or a sakal. It means to turn. Okay. So these people are foolish. They're turning away from him. And he says, you're without understanding. Okay. To be without understanding. And you see, they're using this word called lave here. That word right there is not word for understanding. That's not understanding. And I'll show it to you to prove it. So sometimes you can't, if you don't know the Hebrew language, you're going to go, oh, that's understanding. It's not understanding. It's called a lave. Right here. And they put it in English, L-E-B, but it's really lave, which is a lamed and a bet. And let me show you what it means. It means heart or mind. Okay. But remember, Yah doesn't talk to us. He talks about they say your heart, right? In English, they say, oh, he loves you, love him with all your heart. And you and I would think, oh, that's our little soft thing inside of us, right? Our little heart. And he's not talking about your heart. In Hebrew, it always means your inner person, your mind, your thoughts. Remember, he tells them to love me with all your heart and your soul and your mind. That's what he's saying. Love me with your inner person, the person that I speak to. Love me with this. Okay. So here it is. It sounds like love, but it's lave. And I'll write it out. L-A-V. That's if we were to put it in English, lave. Okay. Right. Now, this first letter right here is a lamed. The next letter right here is a bet. Okay. So when we talk about lave and we talk about the mind, you need to understand what it means from a Hebraic perspective. Okay. A Hebraic perspective is different. Okay. This letter right here, which they call a L, is a lamed. And I want to show you what those two letters mean. Okay. Let me show it to you. Back at our little thing right here. So you'll know that I'm going to verify what I say, because I do all the time. I never just say things and never show it to you. Okay. So the first part right here, remember, stop me if you have any questions. So the word is called, or the letter is called a lamad or lamed. It's the letter L. Okay. And it's a shepherd's staff. That's what it is. It's a shepherd's staff. And what do you use a shepherd's staff for? Use a shepherd's staff to what?
The herd.
To herd and to guide. Okay. Yes. So far we got that. Right. So that's a lamed. Okay. The next letter we had was a bet. And so we know what a bet is. A bet is the tent. Okay. But the shepherd's staff means to lead and to guide, but it also has another meaning. It has several meanings. So let's go find out what they mean. Right. So you could get some understanding that it's not what they told us. They said is your heart. And I want to show you that it's more than your heart. It's more than your heart. It is right here. Lamed. All right. So here's a letter called Lam. That's what we had. Lam. It says the early pictograph is a shepherd's staff. Okay. These are some slides that I made up. Okay. These are slides that I made up. You won't be able to find these anywhere. But I'll always share it with my people. Okay. So the ancient Hebrew on this is a shepherd's staff. Okay. This letter lamed. Okay. And it's a shepherd's staff, and it was used to direct sheep and by pushing or pulling them. Okay. All right. So the ancient looks like this. It's just flipped upside down. So they modernized it and changed it to that. Okay. Right. It's a shepherd's staff with a hook on it. Okay. And then it says it was also used as a weapon against predators to defend and protect the sheep. Okay. The meaning of this letter, and from a grammatical point and also a movement, like a preposition, is to say is moving towards something, as moving something in a different direction. So that's what the shepherd used. He used the shepherd's staff to move the sheep in a direction. And I'll put it this way so you can see what it looks like. Okay. So he uses this staff to move them in a direction that they need to go. That's what he uses to prod them. He might use this hook right here to grab them by their neck or grab them by their arm, the little leg, and grab them and move into a different direction. And so the letter, because he's the whole and he's moving everyone in a different direction, he says, I'm the authority. So anytime you saw whoever was holding the staff was the person who was in authority. Now, from what you know so far, when Moshe went to Egypt to go release the people or the Pharaoh, what did he put in his hand?
Understand?
Yeah.
To show what?
Leadership, authority,
Show leadership, but whose authority?
Most High.
Most High's authority. It wasn't Moshe's authority, it was the Most High's authority. So it is used as for authority, and it's a sign of the shepherd. It's a sign of his. This is how he proves that he is the leader of the flock. Okay.
So Moshe means Moses, basically.
Yes, Moshe is Moses. I'm sorry, I always speak in the Hebrew, like, when you know their names, you'll be like, Moshe, yes, Moses, yes, Moshe. Okay. It says it also means yoke, because they would put it on the neck of their animals to guide them. It's the staff to be on the shoulders as well as to tie or to bind from the yoke that is bound to the animal. Okay. Now let me give you a little picture, because pictures mean a lot. Okay. So I told you all that the name of the word in ancient Hebrew is lam. That's where this first letter is a lamed. Okay. Okay. It could be this, it could look like that. It could look a whole different ways. Okay. And so this is lam, but in the modern it's called lamed. So lam is the ancient, lamed is the modern name that they put on it. It still means the same thing. They'll take that word from lamed and turn it to lamad, and lamad means to teach. It means to learn. That's what it means. It means to teach and to learn. That means learn, okay? Or to teach. So when Yah puts a staff in someone's hand, he's bringing them by the staff so they can learn what he's saying. And someone who's holding the staff is the one that he says that you're supposed to teach. So a shepherd is not only moving these sheep in the direction along the way, he's authority that has the power to teach, learn. So the sheep learn who the authority is by the one who's doing the teaching. So a lot of times in the Hebrew language, you're going to see this letter in front of a lot of words, because it's Yah moving. He's using his words to move us in directions that he wants us to go. Okay. So I want to show you a picture that shows you what this lamed does. Okay. This is what it does. And this is what it means. The ancient, again, is lam, and it means to teach. Okay. And here's the lam right here in his hand. It's his authority. It's a weapon. It could serve as a yoke. It's a sign. Like, the sign of circumcision, the sign that was in Moshe's hand was for its signs and wonders and his leadership. So it has to do with lead. It has to do with learning. Okay. All these things. And this is used on them to lead them and guide them. So when Yah used Moshe, he says, you take my people and you lead them out of the place, okay, of where I'm leading them to. So he brought him and he used him to bring them into the wilderness. So when he brought these children of Israel, Yah chose them and said, this is my shepherd. I'm going to use him to bring my children out. And he's going to lead them and prod them to go to the wilderness so I can get there, so I can talk to them and I can teach them. So Moshe is one of the people, one of the greatest prophets that has ever lived on the face of this earth. And Yah said there has been none greater than him. There's none. Because this in particular prophet, Yah spoke to him, it says face to face. But here's the bottom line. That's a Hebrew idiom. No man has ever seen Yah. Yah even told Moshe, you can't see me. He said, please show me your glory. He said, no, I won't let you do that. If you saw me, you'll die, but I'll put you in the cleft of the rock. And when I pass, you can see it, but I will declare something to you. I will declare. Okay. But before I get to the declaration of that, I still wanted you to know what that lamed meant. Okay. So We know right now that the letter Lamed means authority. So let's write it out. Because the word we were looking at is called lave. It was a Lamed and it was a bet. Right? This is the word for heart or the inner person. Really, what Yah is saying is that the Lamed right there is the authority and the bet is inside. So when you talk about your mind, because that's what it is, okay, they abstractly called it your heart. When you talk about your mind, you're talking about your authority inside your tent. That's your heart. That's the heart, is your authority, the one who can make the decisions, the one who's leading you inside of your tent. It's called the authority within. This is the tent, and the Lamed is the authority. It's the shepherd's staff. You see? So the thing is when Yah puts his staff, he's saying, let me shepherd your heart. Let me shepherd what's inside of you. Let me shepherd your mind. That's what I'm trying to shepherd, is your mind. If I get your mind, then I have your body, because your mind controls your body. If I can get,
So it's your thought process.
Yes, every thought is every intention that you have. If I can get your mind, I can get your hands. Because you only use your hands because it's connected to what you're thinking. If I could get your mind, I could get your eyes. If I could get your mind, you'll be careful what you put in your mouth. If I could get your mind, you'll be careful about what you let into your ears. If I could get your mind, you'll be careful where you walk your feet to. If I can get your mind, you'll be careful about where you bow your knees to. If I can get your mind, you'll be careful where you take your life source and do with that, and the seed that comes out of you. If I can get your mind, if my authority is over you, you then begin to see some changes. But I need to put the staff on you, because the staff is not only used for leadership and authority and a yoke and a sign, but it's also used to push and pull in order to do what with the animal?
Lead.
To lead them. But also too, one of the greatest things that I found out about it was that the Most High is looking to do something with his hand. It's the hand that holds the Lamed inside the palm of the hand. Okay. It's the shepherd's staff. If you look at the picture that we just had, is the hand is wrapped around the staff. It's the palm of the hand, and it's bent around the staff. It's curved around it. And why is it curved? Because that's what the palm of the hand means. That's one of your Hebrew letters you're going to learn today. It's called a kaf. It's called a kaf. It is like this. It looks like a backward C. It's called a kaf. It means the palm of the hand. The palm of the hand. Because the palm of the hand, you can bend, you can curve, you can tame with it, and you can subdue. When you put that Lamed in your hand, in your palm, the shepherd does, he puts the staff in his hand, is only to tame and subdue and to bend and to curve your will, Israel. So Yah is curving and taking us and curving our minds through the authority. The hand is used to hold the shepherd's staff. You see? So the shepherd's staff is used to do the taming and the subduing and the curving and poking and pulling, just like he said, that's what a shepherd does, to keep us on the right path. Okay. And so when Yah's asking this, he's asking us to, I'm going to need to bend your will towards me. I'm trying to curve your intentions towards what I said. I got to tame you because you're in a place that's been wicked and unruly, unorthodox, uncivilized, unkosher, unholy, unkadosh, unclean. I got to break this out of you. And I have to subdue your will. But I can't do it unless you give it to me. If you willingly give your heart to me and you wholeheartedly come after me with a willingness, then I can do it. But I can't do it with a people that are bent on going against me. I can't do it with a person who has a stiff neck, a cachet. A cachet means to be stiff neck, a cachet or ref. I can't do it on a person who's stiff neck, because if I say, like, we need to turn here, your neck is so tight that you can't turn your head in the direction I need you to go. So what do I do with an animal like that? Well, if it just won't turn, it's not going to turn. I ultimately have to put it into it, because it's not willing. It's just going against what I said. See, the cough is an ancient form of this letter. It's an open palm of a hand, and it means to bend or to curve from a shape, as the palm of the hand is used to shape or tame, right? Tame or subdue, as one being bent to another person's will. The goal is to have us bent towards his will. And his will is royal. His will is justice. His will is nobility. His will is perfection and judgment and justice, to look out for the orphan, the stranger, and the fatherless. Because he loves the stranger. He loves the stranger. He loves the foreigner. Because he said, you guys are strangers. You should know how it is. I provide him with food and clothing, just like I did for you. I want you to look out for the fatherless and the widow. If you don't, I'll kill you. We don't like that. We don't want to hear when he says, I'll kill you if you do that, but that's what he says. I'll show it to you. That's what he says. But I also told you that I was going to show you where he declares to Moshe his name. And he declares his name to him in the book of Exodus, chapter number 34. And it's going to begin in verse number 6. And what does it say? It says this. It says, and descended Yahweh into a cloud. Okay. He descended in a cloud. He descended into who? Yahweh, into a cloud. Right? Because Moshe was asking, hey, show me mercy. I want to see you. And he said, and he stood with him there, and he proclaimed, which this word right here, proclaim, means vayikra, and he did make a proclamation. And this is what he said. He proclaimed what? The name, the Bashem of Yahweh. When he took him and he stood there in that cleft. And as he passed by him, which is Vayovor, Yahweh passed by him before the face, and he proclaimed. This is what he said. He said, Yahweh. And he said it again, Yohe-Wahe. I'm an El. El means power. I'm the power of all powers. And then he begins to tell him about who he is. He's a merciful Elohim. He's a Rakum. He's a Wakanenun. He is a gracious Elohim. He's slow to anger. You know, he talks about all those different things to how he is. And that's what he does. He proclaims his name to Moshe, because Moshe wanted to know, who are you? Show me. And he's like, I can't let you see me. You'll die. But the relationship they had was from ear to ear, meaning, like he said, when he talks about, we talk face to face, like right now, or you and I we could see each other on Zoom, but our relationship, like Phineas and I, Pincus and I, when we talk to each other, we hear each other. Just like how we can talk right now, Yah was talking to Moshe the same way. He didn't see an image of him. He just heard a voice. But they were talking like they were like friends, like they had a relationship like that. He says that he didn't talk to him like he talked to everyone else. He said, I don't talk to Moshe like I talk to everybody else. And that's what he got on his brother and sister about. He said, you guys, you don't know him like I do. So Miriam and Aharon began criticizing Moshe on the account of the Ethiopian woman. They were upset about how he married this Ethiopian woman, because his other woman left and went back home with her dad. He says he had married, in fact, an Ethiopian woman. They said, is it true that Yahweh has spoken only with Moshe? That was the question. Has Yahweh spoken only? Hasn't he spoken with us too? See? So they're starting some confusion. Now, this man, Moshe, was very what? He was very humble. He's very humble, more than anyone on earth. Suddenly, Yahweh told Moshe and Aaron and Miriam, come out, you three, to the tent of meeting. The three of them went out. Yahweh came down in the column of the cloud. He stood at the entrance to the tent. He summoned Aaron and Miriam. So they're the two who had to come in front of him, and they both went forward. He said, listen to what I say. When there is a prophet among you, you better hear what he's about to say. I, Yahweh, make myself known to him in a vision. Listen, he said, listen. If I'm going to talk to a prophet, I'll talk to that prophet through a vision. And I'll speak to him in a dream. But it isn't that way with my servant Moshe. It isn't. He didn't talk to Moshe in a vision. He didn't talk to him in a dream. He talked to him face to face, like they were like in his, he heard him, Yah heard him, and he heard Yah.
That's deep.
There wasn't no, you give me a vision in a dream and I'll interpret it. It was like me and you talking right now. Yah spoke, he heard. Moshe spoke, Yah responded. That was a very close relationship. He said, he is the only one who is faithful in my entire household. He said, with him, I speak face to face. And clearly, I don't talk in riddles. So if you think the Torah is about a whole bunch of things and surprises and mysteries that no one ever understands and we don't know what it means, no, I don't talk to him in riddles. He sees the image. He saw the glory, but he didn't see Yah. Okay, so why weren't you afraid to criticize my servant Moshe? So the anger of Yahweh flared up against him and he left. Okay, then the cloud was removed, and what happened? Miriam had Zazarat, meaning she had leprosy immediately. She turned white as snow because of her mouth. Her criticism causes this. When we speak evil against somebody, especially Yah's servant, Yah will do something to us. And he says, and Aharon looked at Miriam and she was white as snow. Moshe said to Aharon said to Moshe, oh, my master, please don't punish us for this sin. Speaking evil and criticizing a sin that we've committed foolishly. Sometimes we act a fool, right? And so he prayed, he said, she looks stillborn. She looks like somebody that's just dead. Baby with the body half eaten away, and it becomes out of its mother's womb. Ooh. Moshe cried to Yahweh. Now we see how close he is. Moshe cried to Yahweh. He said, oh, Elohim, I beg you, please heal her. Yahweh answered him. There wasn't no dream and no vision. Answer Moshe. If her father had merely spit in her face, wouldn't she hide herself in shame for 7 days? Yah literally said, I just spat in her face. Tell her to go outside the camp for 7 days. So I just spit in her face for disrespecting me and my servant. Okay?
Man, he don't play.
Oh, no, he ain't playing.
He not playing.
He ain't playing with nobody. He ain't playing with me, you, my mama, nobody. He's not playing.
Man, that's a beautiful thing to know, because coming from where we were started, he forgives everybody. He loves everybody.
He loves us, and you're right. He starts us all off with the same type of discipline. See, what happens is when you first come into this truth, Yah really starts whooping you. He starts tearing you down. He's going to tear us down. Okay, that's what he's going to do. And let me share it with you, so you will feel more comfortable. When I said the stuff I say, some people get offended, like, well, you just called us stupid. Yeah, we are stupid. We're dumb. He says, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're not paying attention. You guys want to do what you want to do, and it's not going to happen. Yah talks about what he has to do to Israel. What does he say? If these things don't make you listen to me, then I will discipline you 7 times over for your sins. I will break the pride you have in your own power. That's what Yah's intentions are. Yah is to break the pride that we have in our own power. That's what his intentions are, until we finally decide what steps we're going to take. And the steps that we're going to take is this. is if we go through these processes of Yah cutting our food off, kicking us out of our land, disciplining us, chastising us 7 more times, and people eating their sons and their daughters, and I'll destroy your high places and throw your carcasses of your idols on you, and I'll detest you. I'll destroy your cities. I'll desolate your lands. I'll do it all.
Right. This is,
huh?
you read that's lucky. This is Leviticus 26:18 on.
Yes. Leviticus 26, and he says, "You will I disperse among the nations."
Right.
And when I disperse the nations, when I disperse you to these nations, listen to this: I will draw out the sword, not anyone else. I will do it. I'm going to draw out the sword in pursuit after you. That's right. Your land will be a desolation. Why? Because you didn't listen to me. Your cities will be a wasteland. Why? Because you didn't listen to me. Then at last, the land will be paid as Shabbats. That's why you're out of the land. Because the land needed to be paid as Shabbats because we didn't keep the Shabbats. We worked on the Shabbats. He says, as long as it lies desolate without you and you're in the lands of your enemies, the land will rest and be repaid its Shabbats. The land has to be paid because of what we did to it. And he says, yes, as long as it lies desolate, it will have rest as it did not have rest during your Shabbats when you lived there because you want to work the land. Okay. And as far as those who are left, I will fill their hearts with anxiety in the lands of their enemies. The sound of the driven leaf will frighten them, so they will flee as one flees from the sword and falls when no one's pursuing. Yes, with no one pursuing, they will stumble over each other as fleeing from the sword and will have no power to stand before your enemies. Yeah, and among the nations you will perish. The land of your enemies will devour you. Why? Because you didn't do what I said. Those of you who remain will pine away in the lands of your enemies over your guilt and the misdeeds of those and your ancestors. Not just yours, but theirs too. Then what? Then they'll confess. Step number 1, make a confession of what? Their misdeeds and those of their ancestors. If you don't want to acknowledge what your ancestors did to Yah, then surely you don't understand what you've done to Yah. We cannot understand how far we're off unless we go back and look at what our ancestors did. And we have to not only do that, but we have to understand that they went against Yah in their rebellion, and they will admit, step 2, that they went against me. Who went against him? Our ancestors. If you're the descendants from those people, you have to say you're sorry for them and for yourself. Because if you don't, he says, I'm going to pay you back too. And at that time, I will be going against him. Bringing them to the land. Huh?
Right. That's why when we pray, we was told to not only pray for ourselves, but pray for our fathers and our forefathers.
You got to pay for your fathers and your forefathers who went against Yah.
Right.
Because the land that you're going to get is from your forefathers. The blessings that you're going to get is from your forefathers. It's their inheritance that was passed on to us. So there's no way that you and I can inherit something without taking responsibility. This is your way to turn your family around and turn back to Yah with a whole heart and say, I want to go in a different direction. It's about going home to the land because that's the promise. He says, but if you're uncircumcised, it's always an if and maybe. Listen, it's an if. If their uncircumcised heart grows humble, that's step 3. And they're paid. That's what you get your paid. You didn't get paid. No one died for your misdeeds because he says when you're landing your enemies, because that's where you are, then you're going to be paid for your punishment. Like the land is being repaid for what we did to her. Now you and I are sent away so we could be paid for the punishment for our misdeeds. So if that happens, then it's always an if and then. I will remember my covenant with Yaakov. If you and I will grow humble. If you and I would confess, if you and I would admit where we and our ancestors have gone against him. Also, my covenant with Yitzchak and my covenant with Abraham, and I will remember the land. Because in those covenants with Yaakov, and the covenant with Yitzchak, and the covenant with Abraham, it talks about the land because that's what he promised us.
No more, no less.
No more, no less.
Yaakov,
if you want something, you should want the land.
Yaakov is who again?
Jacob.
Okay, and Ishkak is
It's his daddy, Isaac.
Isaac. Okay.
Isaac. And Abraham is Abraham.
I
Okay?
kind of figured that one in.
Yep. So listen, so he's going to remember the land, Zakar, meaning I know that I made a promise to these men. I made a covenant with them. I agreed to them if their descendants would do what I would say, I would give them a land that they walked on. For the land, land, will lie abandoned without them, and it will be paid. It's Shabbats. The Shabbats are so important. The Yah says you guys got to leave because you have profaned the land. The land is his. He says, if it lies desolate without them, they will be paid. Who's going to be paid? We are, for the punishment for our misdeeds. You don't need anybody to die for your sins. You're here and I'm here so we can be paid. Because what? They rejected my rulings. He tells us why we're here. Because we rejected, we loathed him, we rejected his rulings, which is judgments, and we loved his regulations. His judgments and his regulations are the rulings, okay, that says, hey, you know, Pincus, me and you get into it. I go, hey, guess what? How do we resolve this? First thing you and I are supposed to go, well, what did Yah say? Hey, you know, this happened. We had a business transaction that went south. How do we make it right? Well, what is the rulings? What did Yah say?
Always go back to the law.
You go back to what Yah says.
That's right.
We never come up and add or subtract from what he said. If Yah says that if your daughter committed whoredom in your house and you're in the land of Israel and she's playing a whore, she's supposed to be brought to the front door and set on fire. But guess what our people don't like? They don't like that. Because they say she just made a mistake. If your son is not doing what you told him to do and he's getting out drunk and high and he won't follow the Torah, Yah says, bring him out to the city gates, to the elders, and tell him the situation, and he won't listen. Right. And he's supposed to be stoned to death. Yah says, if a widow ever cries out to him to say that you and I did not plead her case and mistreated her, he says, I'm killing you. So your wife can be a widow now. If you mistreat the fatherless, he says, I'm going to make your children fatherless. That's the justice of Yah. And so our people don't like that. They don't like if they had sex with a woman and she was betrothed to another man, then both of them are put to death unless they was outside where in the field where she couldn't scream out. We don't like the fact that Yah says these are the things that you can eat and that you can't eat. We're a people that's set apart for Yah. We're a special people. But he says, yet in spite of all that, in spite of all what? All their rejection of me, of my rulings and my regulations, I will not reject them. I'm not going to reject you like you reject me when they're in the lands of their enemies. You and I need to be say hallelujah, because he said, I'm not going to reject you when you're in the land of your enemies, nor will I love you to the point of utterly destroying them. I could, but I'm not. Thus, if I did destroy them, I would break my covenant with them. So when someone tells you that the covenant is broken, you need to tell them, well, we're in the lands of our enemies. And he said, he's not rejecting us. He said, I'm not going to reject them like they rejected me, nor will I loathe them to the point of utterly destroying them and thus break my covenant with them. Because I am Yahweh, their Elohim. Because Yahweh told Abraham, our father, that I will be their Elohim. He says, rather, for their sakes, I will remember the covenant of their ancestors. What? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? That's a whole nother covenant. He's saying the ones who I brought out of the land of Egypt. So the covenant he's making here reference to is called the 10 words. Not the 10 commandments, by the way. It's not the 10 commandments. It's the 10 words. God never spoke 10 commandments. There are commandments, but they're not 10 of them. There's like 613 of them. He says, I spoke the 10 words to them, and I'll show it to you. I brought them out of the land with the nations watching, so I might be their Elohim. The one I'm talking about, the covenant I'm talking about, is the one that I made with their ancestors that I brought out of Egypt. Why? So that I might be their Elohim. I am Yahweh. That's my name. So I'm the one who brought them out. Every time he says this, he's letting you know that I'm the God that brought them out. There is no other Elohim. He says, these are the laws, the rulings, and the teachings which Yahweh Elohim gave himself to the people of Israel on Mount Sinai through Moshe. They're not Moshe's teachings. They're Yahweh's teachings. See? This is what Yah's talking about. Yah is not forgetting the covenant. He is not and will not and shall not. He's actually going to bring us into the obligations of the covenant.
See, now that is a real deeper understanding of renewing of the mind, because you know our people say keep the Messianic laws, but it's not. There is no Messianic laws. It's not the laws of Moses. This is the laws of the Most High Himself.
Yes, it is. And in conclusion of our lesson, I don't know how long you guys like to go, but I can go forever. You just got to tell me when to stop.
Okay. Let your spirit lead.
So what we're talking about is we're in now when we talk about what Yah's intentions are for his people, right? We want to know, well, what does Yah expect from us? What does he want us to know? What is it? And we'll find that in Deuteronomy chapter number 10. Okay. I told you, right? Let me see. All right, we could get into that. In chapter number 10, okay, in verse number, I thought it was in 10, the tribe of Yahweh, the ark of the covenant upon the portion, and at last, the name mountain, the first days. Okay, here's what he said. It's called a call to obedience. Okay. Now we start our lesson off talking about the word ma. Okay. You don't have to be a Hebrew scholar. All you got to do is read the words right above the word that I tell you and just listen. Okay. Because this is how we have to know it. He says, and wa ata Yisrael, it means now you listen up now, Israel, Yisrael. I need Israel to listen.
This is verse 12, right?
Verse 12. And I'm going to show you the word that we talked about. And that word right there is called what? It's right here. It's the third word. What does it say? Wa ata Yisrael. What does it say? Ma. Ma. Ma is what? It means a question mark. And it's called an interrogative. Okay. That means to interrogate. So Yah is saying what? So how is Yah going to interrogate us? What's the question that Yah is asking us? What are we supposed to be asking? What is Yahweh asking? Well, how is Yahweh going to interrogate us? He does that by asking us questions and letting us know what it is that he wants to do. He's our Eloheka. The answer here is Shoel. Okay, Shoel means to inquire, to ask questions. But if you don't know the grammar, you would not know this participle here means ing. It means not that it's just, required or requirement. It's ing. That means right now, happening. It doesn't stop. It's consistent. So what is Yah seeking and asking us? What is he interrogating us about, requiring of us, from us? He's asking for us to do something. He says, ki im la yira. This right here means, if I told you before, that this little lamed right here is the shepherd staff. So what does it mean? It means to or for. And that's called a preposition. And to and for means to lead the sheep in a different direction. That's what a shepherd staff is used for. See, to or for. So every time you see this letter, lamed right here is saying to take you and guide you to somewhere. That's what a staff does. It's the authority. Yah is saying the first thing I want you to do, and I want to put this staff to you for you to learn. Remember, staff means to learn from the word lamed. It means the first thing I really want you to learn is I want you to learn to fear me. That's the first thing you need to learn, is to fear me, because that's what I'm requiring from you. It's not I'm asking, I require it. Okay? This word eth right here is just an object marker. It's a direct object marker, which is basically just an arrow in Hebrew. It's just an arrow, which is going to show you that I'm going to show you where this verb goes. Okay? This verb to fear me, I'm going to point you to what I want you to fear. So follow the arrow, and he's going to tell us where that arrow of fear is supposed to be applied to. Let's see who la yira is supposed to go to. Okay? Let's continue. What's the next word on the next line? Oh, look where the arrow brought us. Let me follow the arrow, because I just said eth. The arrow takes us all the way to this individual. which is Yohe-Wahe. That's his proper name, a noun. Yohe-Wahe. That's his name, Yahweh. They got the little E there because they don't want to keep it African. It's Yahweh. Okay. I don't know if you know this, but let me share it with you right quick since I just said it. The Hebrew language is not an Ashkenazi language. The Hebrew language is what they would call Ivret. Hebrew in the word Hebrew is called Ivret. I-V-R-I-T. It's just a spelling, okay? And it's a Northwest Semitic language. And it's of the what? Afro-Asiatic family. That's where it's from. This is not a Jewish language. It's an Afro-Asiatic language family. Period. That's where it's from. And it's in the Hebrew Bible. Ivret meaning Hebrew. Some people say, are you Hebrew? No, I'm Ivret. People say it's Ashkenazi or Sephardic. No, I'm Afro-Asiatic. I'm Shemitic, but I'm from Afro-Asiatic. You're Afro-Asiatic. That's why our people have slanted eyes. It ain't because they're Chinese or they got Filipino. It's because they're Afro-Asiatic. That's what we are. Okay? Just wanted to share that little tidbit of information with you. It's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when we say these words, when I say Yahweh Elohecha, that's African. I say Lalakha Bekal. So our fear is supposed to be directed to him because he's our power. Yahweh Elohecha, he's your power. And he's the power of what? He's the power of everything. He's the power of life, the power of light. The sun doesn't give and emits his own light. The moon doesn't have her own light. The stars don't shine because they just shine. They have someone giving them power. The roaring sea has its power from the all-powerful one. The lion got his power from the Holy One of Israel. It's not his power. It's the power that's been given him. We have the power of speech. We have the power of understanding. Yah says to fear him. And what else does he want us to do? He wants us to walk. Lalaketh. You see this lamed again? It's a preposition. It is to or for. It is a shepherd's staff. It is authority. It's to lead you to what? All. In all his ways. Not our ways, in his ways. He told us to do what he says. He told us to fear him. He told us to walk in what he says. And, Ula, here's the shepherd's staff again. To what? To love. Ahava. 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 And the root to that is the two letters that are used is called Hav. It's the Hey and the Bet. The Bet is the tent. This letter Hey means to look. And the Bet is the tent, so look towards the tent, which means look towards the house. And if you look towards the house, you make sure the house has food. You make sure the house has lights. You make sure the house has peace. You make sure the house has protection. You make sure the house has clean water. You make sure the house has safety. You make sure the house has teaching. If you love someone, you don't do it with just this abstract thought. You actually have to physically do things. And how has Yah shown his love towards his people? He's looked towards the house of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov and their family. The house is where the tent is where the family. We are a tent of people.
Oh,
We
praise.
live in a tent, huh?
Oh, praises.
Praises to him. So when he looked at, he's looking at Abraham's tent, Abraham's family. That's what he looked to, the tent, the house, the family, because the family stays inside of the tent. So when Yah told Abraham, I will make you a father of many nations, I'll take care of your family and your descendants forever. And I will give them land forever. I will give them food forever. I will give them water and sheep and gold and silver, and I will make them a people and give them a name above every name on the face of the earth.
Hallelujah.
They're a special people to me that I set apart, and I will make them my inheritance. Out of all peoples, I will make them my people. However, they have to fulfill the obligation of the covenant that I give to them, to keep my laws, my statutes, and commandments so I can have peace inside of my home. We've been fighting Yah. There is no shalom when we're fighting Yah. There's no peace. He sent us here because we were a whore and we would worship other gods and we open our bodies up to whoever who would come. He calls his wife Israel a whore. You've been whoring, you open it up to whoever passes by. He says, don't have me read it. He says, you're a dumb whore. You're dumb and you're stupid because you're the type of whore that would pay other people instead of you getting paid.
Man.
You're a stupid, dumb whore. I know it's some hard language. I know it's a hard language, but it's the truth. I'm asking you to fear me. I'm asking you to walk in my ways. I'm asking you to love him, Oto, and La Avado, to serve him. To be a servant in the Most High means that you're going to take all of your directives from him. When you get into a situation, you're not going to run to what you believe that you need to start thinking and doing. You're not going to come up with your own rationale. You're going to do what I told Pinchas. His real name is Pinchas. It's not Phineas, it's Pinchas. Me and him get into any kind of situation, even in a business deal, we would have to say, okay, we have a situation. Where do we go? We got to go to the rulings of Yahweh. If we come into a situation where we're faced with an enemy, where do we go? We got to go to Yahweh. We have to seek counsel from Yah. You can't do it on your own because you don't belong to yourselves. You're Yah's servant forever. You are Yah's slave. Don't you understand that? Forever. And you're supposed to serve with the arrow again. Who? Yahweh.
Bring it out.
Forever. Everything is about Yahweh. Every decision is about Yahweh Eloheka. And how do you do it? I told you earlier that this is with all. The bet means with, and call means all. But let's just get rid of this and say, let's stop being English and being European and call it from Hebraically. I told you what the Kaf meant is the palm of the hand. And what's in the palm of the hand? You know the next letter. We've been going over it all day. It's the lamed. It's the staff. And when you have a staff in your hand, you're using it to do what?
Correct.
To correct, to tame, and to lead. Yah's saying that I want you to do the stuff that I'm asking you to do. I need you to give yourself over to me to be my servant so I can take this staff that's in the palm of my hand and that with it, I can tame your heart, your mind. And I can do that through my words. But you have to fear me. You have to love me. You have to walk in my ways. If you don't do that, I'm not your shepherd. I'm not your shepherd. You could choose the shepherds that you want. You listen to who you want to listen to. Whoever you follow, he says, but you know what? If I'm your shepherd, I'm asking you that I need you to, I need to tame. I got to tame. I got to use this palm in my hand with the staff in my hand to tame your heart. The staff that's in this hand of that palm is the staff that's right here. You see that? I'll do it again. This is Yahweh's hand. This is Yahweh's staff. The staff that he uses here with all is the staff that's being used right here in Hebrew. It's the staff. I'm leading you. I'm going to correct you and tame this, which is your heart. I got to tame that. I got to tame love, the authority within. The staff is here, is connected to that staff there, the authority of what's inside. So I have to get to your mind. And I not only do that, and that's what a y is used for. It means and, it's a conjunction. And it's what all, with again, inside the tent, inside your being, with the staff, with the palm in the hand again.
And staff.
And the hand, the palm with the staff in the hand again. To do, what else do I need to tame? I don't know, just to tame your mind, but I need to tame your soul. I need your nafshika. I need the very essence of who you really are. I have your intellect, which is your mind, which is, they say, is your heart, it's your mind, your thoughts and your intentions, but I need your desires. Because that's what you use your soul for, whatever your soul desires. So if you got a desire for alcohol and drugs, I want to replace that. If you so desire that every time you turn around, you're looking at a woman and you want to just lay with her, that's your desire. We got to tame that, because you can't do that. Not according to my laws, because you get killed. If you can't control your desires and you come and live in my community, you look and take someone else's wife, you've already coveted his wife. You're prone to being put to death. If you desire someone else's house and you or somebody else's sheep or someone's oxen or their gold or their silver, you're willing to do whatever. I need to tame your soul. I need to tame you. That's what I need to do. I need you to do something. Again, you will see again, the staff is again here again. To lead us to what? Shamar means to guard. I have to take you to bring you to a place where you will guard. And there's the F again, the arrow, because that's what this here means. It's an arrow. It's a direct object marker. That's what DRR means. Direct. OBJ means object, and M means marker. It's the one that lets you know exactly what I'm telling you to guard. I told you to guard my mitzvot, my commandments. I have chosen you out of all the peoples on the face of the earth to guard what I said. Guard the Shabbat. Guard what I said about the diet. You read every item and what's included on every package to make sure it doesn't have pork in it. Bet you didn't know that wine has pork in it. Bet you didn't know that it was regular wines that are not kosher are filtered in pig intestines. So if you're drinking wine,
damn heathens.
Oh my goodness.
That's how they do it.
Damn heathens, man.
That's how they do it. Yeah, you're right. Damn heathens. That's how they do it. But whose commandments are they? They're not man's commandments. They are Yahweh's commandments. I need you to guard the commandments of Yahweh. This is what I'm telling you. The F is his commandments. They're not ours. It's his. And there's another arrow. What else do you want me to guard? I need to guard my statutes. It's called kukotha. It's called a coke. A coke is in its prescribed time. Huh?
No, sorry.
No, it's okay. Is where this is a time where Yah says, I'm going to go ahead and meet with you. The statutes are Pesach. You said, well, I don't have an offering. You can still acknowledge it. You can still say, thank you, Yah, you delivered the children of Israel on Pesach. Matzah, can you not eat unleavened bread? You sure can. Can you remove the leaven from your house? You sure can. Do you have the offering to make? No, I don't have it. He said, you're not going to have it. He also says, I understand that certain things you can and cannot do, but the things you can do. Do it. Show me that you really want to be led. I'm not asking you to make any sacrifices because I told you you're not going to have an offering and sacrifice. I'm not looking for a sacrifice. I'm looking for you to be thankful. That's what I'm looking for.
Matter of fact, that's the only sacrifice he requires, a sacrifice of Thanksgiving.
Look, here it is. You just said it. Because you said it, I'm going to go there. He says in Psalms 50, look at what he says in Psalms 50. He tells us exactly what he wants from us. Okay. So people start talking, oh, he Not to say he doesn't want the offering when we go back to the land. When we go back, he says, I want it, but I want it after you guys have been, which you supposed been good. He says, the mighty one of Elohim Yahweh is speaking. And what is he doing? He's summoning the world from the east to the west. He said, out of Zion, perfection and beauty, Elohim shining forth. Our Elohim is coming. He's not staying silent. He's not going to stay silent. But what is he doing? With a fire ahead of him and great storm raging around him. That's how he's coming. He's coming. And he's coming in this fashion. A great storm and with fire. Fire and a great storm all around him. He calls to the heavens. Why? Because he's going to use them for judgment and above. And what else does he call the earth? Why? So he can shake, to let them know that what? In order to judge his people. That's why he's coming. He's coming to judge his people. And what does he say? Gather to me, my faithful, those who made a covenant with me by sacrifice. The heavens proclaim his righteousness. That's why he called upon the heavens, because it's going to proclaim it. And how is it going to proclaim it? Through lightning, thunder, and storm. Yes, for Elohim himself is judge. Yes. Verse number 7. My people, now that I've called them and I've gathered them, this is what I want to tell them, because I'm coming to judge them. Listen, my people, listen to me. I am speaking, Israel, because that's who his people are, Israel. I am testifying against you. I, Elohim, your Elohim. I'm not rebuking you for your sacrifices. So get that off the table. I'm not talking to you about your sacrifices. I'm not talking to you about your burnt offerings, because they're always before me. So let's get that off the table. I don't have a problem with you about that. That's not what we're talking about. I have no need for a bull. I don't need a bull from your farm, and I don't take male goats from your pens. No, I don't do that. For all the forest creatures are mine already. I don't need them. And as are all the animals on 1,000 hills. I know all the birds. I know all of them. Yeah, in the mountains, wherever it moves in the field is mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell you. If I was hungry, I wouldn't tell you. Why? Because the world is mine and everything in it. I don't need you to bring me anything. Do I eat the flesh of bulls and drink the blood of goats? No. What does he say? Somebody read it in verse 14. What does he tell us to do?
Offer unto Yahweh thanksgiving and pay thy vows unto the Most High.
That's right. Offer thanksgiving as your sacrifice. So don't try to bring me bulls and goats. I'm not asking for that. But if you bring your thanksgiving to me, and whatever you let came out of your mouth, if you told me you were going to do something, then do it. Because if, like Ecclesiastes says in 5, it says, don't say something that you can't do. If you can't do it, then don't say it. You got to pay the vow you spoke out your mouth. And then he says, call on me when you're in trouble, and I will deliver you, and I will honor you. Okay. And you will honor me, excuse me. But to the wicked. So now Yah is still talking to his people. There's another group of Yah's people, and part of his people are called the wicked people. What right do you have to proclaim my laws? So they might talk about his laws, and they might even take their covenant on their lips. When you so hate to receive what? Instruction, which is Torah, and fleeing my words behind you. So the question is, if they take his covenant on their lips and they hate to receive instruction and they fling his words behind their back, what are they doing? They're saying that his laws can't be done. They're saying that instead of them following the instructions of the Holy One, he tells us right now, according to this whole entire text, that Yah is talking to his people, and he's called Israel. Remember, the context is, call my people so I can judge them, because I'm coming in fire. And these are the things that I'm going to say to the wicked. You have proclaimed, you have said my laws, and you have put my covenant on your lips. You said that you're part of it. But when it came to you doing what I told you, you threw my words behind you. So his covenant is still valid. When you see a thief, you join up with him, because according to his laws, he said you shouldn't join up with him. He said you throw in your lot with adulterers. You give all kind of, hey, it's okay. Your wife broke up, not a big deal. You give your mouth free rein for evil, and you harness your tongue to deceit. You speak against your kinsmen, your relatives, and you slander your own mother's son. And when you do such things, he asked the question, should I stay silent? Remember the beginning of the text, it says, I'm coming and I'm not staying silent. So the very things that we just read about speaking against your mother's son and about holding deceit to your tongue and joining up with a thief and being an adulterer, those are the reasons why Yah's coming to judge his people. He says, you might have thought I was just like you because somebody told you that I was made into a man, but I will rebuke you and indict you to your face. That's what I'm going to do. Consider this, you who forget Elohim, or I will tear you to pieces with no one to save you. Whoever offers Thanksgiving as his sacrifice honors me. And to him who goes the right way, this is what you and I got to do first, is go the right way. I will show the salvation of Elohim. The salvation of Elohim is him delivering us from his judgment if you and I go the right way. But you got to go the right way first. A lot of people like to get saved first and then try to go the right way. No, you got to do the right way. Then you'll get the salvation.
That's right. And also the sacrifice offering Thanksgiving, we're told how to do it in Leviticus 7, verse 11 and 12 and 13.
Yes. You see? So that's our lesson for tonight. I don't want to hold you up too much. I'm so happy and I'm honored to be part of you guys, your group. You know, anytime you want me to come aboard and teach, I'll be able to do that. You guys want to learn the Hebrew language, I'll teach that to you. I don't charge my people for nothing. I just do everything that I do to encourage us to understand. Hopefully you were able to see what that one letter was able to do. Every time you see that letter, it's directing you towards to being under authority and showing you what Yah's trying to do. He's trying to lead us there.
I want to ask you, how did you learn the language?
Oh man, when I first came in, I was reading English and it was a verse that said, oh, I wish. It said, I wish. And I was like, I wish. I said, I don't sound like the creator wishing. He's never wished anything. So let me go and find out what it is. And so I looked it up and it's like, it's a question. He goes, who? That's how I found out that there weren't punctuations in Hebrew. So then I began to read a little bit and I was like, got a little frustrated because I was self-taught. I was like, I called all these different places. Even when I first came to the truth, I was like, well, let me go to these Hebrew classes at these Jewish centers and see if they'll teach it to me. They refuse to teach me. They don't want to teach us. They don't want us to know anything. Okay. So when that happened, I got really angry, and that's what caused me to search out the language. And then I kept doing my research. And so I learned the Hebrew alphabet first. Then I learned about the roots of it. And then I started learning different words. Then I started learning the grammar. I'm still learning. I've been teaching this for probably like 3 years now. And am I fluent in it? No, I'm not fluent in it because biblical Hebrew is different than modern Hebrew. Modern Hebrew is where those Jews have taken the biblical Hebrew and created their own language. So all those words that they're saying are not even in the Hebrew text. They've taken parts of it and created their own language out of it because they're trying to give themselves an identity. But I just started learning the letters, and then I started learning what they meant. I started, just teaching myself. My wife was like, oh, come on, we don't need to learn that. And then now all of a sudden, every day we get up and we read the Hebrew together as a family. And she's like, she loves it because now she understands. And it's not too hard. It just takes time. That's all. Because I wanted to know, what did the creator say? I don't care about what the English translators are saying because they're not our people. You want to know what Yah says. That's what you want to know. And you want to know who he said it to, and you want to know how he said it. And what manner did he say it? What action did he say? Did he say it in a simple action, or did he say it in a forceful action? How did he say it? And the only way that you can realize that or come to recognize that is through the language. If you want to know what's being said, you have to know the origin and where the language come from. It's like music theory. It's like anything you put your hands to. It's easy. It's not hard. And once you start learning it, it becomes part of you. It's more cultural, and you'll be like, oh, I get it. I understand. So the things that we talked about tonight were about lambs. We talked about the shepherd staff. We talked about our eyes. We talked about the doors of the eyes. We talked about our hands. There's all kind of stuff. So everything, this language is dynamic. If you don't understand the language, then you're like lost. It's all abstract. You don't know what nothing means. Hebrew is very concrete. So if Yah says something and he says it in a certain voice and it's a command, you could be able to tell if it was a command just on the way it was written. So that's what I want to know. I don't want to know what someone else is thinking. See, a lot of people do a lot of talk, but they don't want to honor what he said. So if he said it, I pray in Hebrew. I refuse to pray in English because English is a bastardized language. It's a filthy language. It's from our oppressors. It's from our enemies. So go back and learn. And is your pronunciation going to be like the ancient? No. Yah understands that. He's not, come on. He knows if you know what the root of something is, you understand what it means. When you say Yahweh or you say Todah, Rabbi Yahweh, this means thank you, Yahweh. You say Kusa Yahweh, that means have mercy, Yahweh. You say Hallelujah, praise be to the Holy One of Israel. Hallelujah, brightness and light be brought to you. When you say, Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam, you're saying, hey, blessed are you, Yahweh. You're our Elohim. You're the king of the universe. Just those types of things. So once you learn those things, you'll love it. You'll actually become in love with it, and you'll draw closer to Yah. You'll feel closer to Him because you'll be like, "Whoa, these are what we missed." He said, "Yeah, so I'm starting to restore the things that you lost." And of course, He's going to give us a pure language, so it's not pure because it's been touched, but we know that it's written, and we know that those Jews. This is for sure. The reason why you know that the Torah and the Hebrew scriptures is the real for really stuff is because they never touched those. They went and wrote extra books to push their agenda. They left the Torah alone. They don't mess with the prophets. They write other commentaries on these things called the Mishnah, the Talmud, all that kind of stuff. They never touch the Torah. They never touch it. So those are the things that we need to understand. Okay. And it's easy. It's not hard. It takes time. You can learn every day. You can learn 5 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. You remember everything else. You remember the A, B, C, A, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. So why would you learn that? And you don't want to learn, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Ket, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samak, Ayin, Pei, Zadi, Kof, Rish, and Tav. That's the same thing.
Right.
So you're going to have to force yourself, of course, because it's something new for you, because you're using the right side of your brain now versus your left side. You're reading from your right over to your left, and you're transliterating this way. So your brain is going like this now, back and forth. And actually, it's proven that you start becoming real smart. That's how you get your knowledge, your wisdom, and understanding. So people like ask me, well, how do you know all this? Why are you really up on it? It's because I read Hebrew every single day. I sing Hebrew every day. I performed for Aki right here. I did my Hebrew in Psalms 23. He says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, right? That's all Hebrew. You can sing it. You can Yahweh roe the lo exalted benof teshe Yarba seni olme the minokoti nahalani nafshi the yoshevev Yakeni v'magale zedek lama anshamo the gam ki elek baget the zama vetalo the lo ira the ra the kiyata the amadi the shitikawu nishatika hema yanakamune ta adrokta lafanash lukan the get the zorora. You can rap it, you can sing it, you can do whatever you want to do with it.
But that's probably why the Psalms don't sound right in English.
No, no, you're exactly right. Now let me show you guys something. Okay, I'm gonna show you something just so you'll know.
He did it with the music for me earlier.
Okay, but I'm gonna show you. Let me show you how the Psalms is supposed to be read. Okay, I'm gonna show it to you. Don't get scared.
No, let me turn my speakers up.
Yeah, I'm gonna, but I ain't gonna have no music to it. I'm just gonna tell you what it is. Okay, so the psalm that we're gonna do, I already know Psalms 23, so that's nothing, that I could do, or I could do. But I want to, let me pick a psalm. So when you read the Psalms, it's supposed to be a song and it's a poem, okay, and it's a cadence. It's not, like you said, when you read it. And the Lord said, and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't supposed to be read like that, okay? In the Psalms, it's supposed to be read in a way, and once you learn it, you can go, okay, so this one is the 2 paths, which is Psalms number 1, okay? I'll read it to you, okay? So the Ashkenazi, they read it, right?
No rhythm.
Right? No rhythm. Okay. Okay. So this is how we do it. Now we got a lot of stuff that they brought over to you, kind of those cadences that you have in those churches, right? So it goes Ashrei Haish, Diarashed Lo Halak, the Be'adat of Rashaim, the Uvod of Rek, the Kataim Lo Yeshad, the Diamak, the Umashev, the late seem the Lo the Yeshav. Okay. Yahweh the Roe, Lo Exabin, and now I'm doing offhand, off the top of my head, off the Psalms in Psalms 23. Yahweh the Roe, Lo Exabin of Deshe. Yarbat Saini Olme, Minakota Yanahalani, Nafshi the Yoshevet Yakeni, for Magale, the Zedek Alaman Shamo, Gam Kielek the Bagay, the Zalmavetolo, Lo Eradra, the Kiatai Madi, the Shitika Mishatika, Hema the Yanakamune, the Talrok the Lafanai, the Shlukan of Ged, the Zodorai, the Shanta the Vashemen of the Roshikose, the Rabbi Yad Yakotove with Kesed, Yerdufuni, the Kali made the Kaye, oh Yahweh the Roe, Lo Exade bin of the She, Yarba Seni Olme, Minakota Yanahalane, the Yavshe. You understand? So this is how the Psalms is supposed to be read. You see?
Yeah, I knew it wasn't right in English. It's just something. Whenever I try to think of it in English, like the song form, like I'm like, okay.
Yeah, how's it work, right?
This is mayonnaise.
Exactly. You know? So yeah, so it is mayonnaise. And but when you learn the Hebrew, right, then you start, you'll start getting. And look, you don't need to do everything I just did. You can just start with Yahweh the Roe. Once you learn Yahweh Roe, Yahweh Roe is Yahweh's my shepherd. My shepherd is Roe. Roe. Yes, sister. Yes, pray conjure. Yes. Yahweh the Roe. Lo Ixabino Fideshe. Yarbaseni the Olme. Minakoti in the Halane. The Nafshi the Yosheve. Yakeni Vamagale. Zedik the Lama Anshamo the Gam Kia Lake Bagay. The Zalma Vetolo. Right? And Gam the Kia Lake. Then he says, October with Kesed the Yirdufuni, the Roshi Kosi the Shanta, the right. So he starts getting into it. It's feeling. Our people are a people of feeling, a people of rhythm, a people of song, a people of dance. And that's why we're called Yehuda.
It's the reason why he chose us.
Yes, because
it's the reason why we're chosen. So
that DNA material, we only can relate to Yah through song. Like when they came through the Red Sea, they got tambourines. Miriam got busy and they started singing. You hear me? And it was Afro-Asiatic. Our people had that in them and it's still in us today. That's why a lot of us are great singers and actors and artists and poets and all these different writers. And we can sing, we can dance, we can do it all.
We do it all.
You understand? So those are the gifts that he gave us, but it's from our heart. So that's the reason why I can do it, is because I feel like he's my shepherd. He's the one who leads me down. He's the one who restores me and turns my soul back to him. So when I sing that, when I go on my walks, that's what I sing to him.
Well,
I know for sure he hears me.
Yeah, I gotta say you're an inspiration, brother. I like,
thank you. Praise the Holy One of Israel. Yeah.
I like that you took it upon yourself to learn the language. So
yeah, it was trust me, it was a little difficult, but I got into it. It took a couple of years, but now I know how to teach it. The slides that you saw tonight, I created those. I not only teach the biblical Hebrew, I teach the ancient, so you can get the understanding from an agricultural standpoint, because it has to do with land, it has to do with food, it has to do with rain.
And one thing I do know is we really are lost people without our native tongue.
Yes. Yeah, because we lost our culture.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't have any culture. Our culture now is being determined by what they say it is. Mm-hmm. So we miss the idea of what going home means. We miss the idea of what we should be focused on. Our focus is not to get spiritual. That's not the focus. The focus is to learn how to live, so when we go home, we can automatically assimilate into the land. When Yah then decides, well, since you guys decided to turn, you decided to confess and to admit and change your ways, I'm going to now download the Torah inside of you so no one has to teach you anymore. So you guys will, and guess what? Now that I did that, there's a covenant forever where I'll never be mad with you anymore and there won't be no more misunderstandings between us. Ever. So you guys get to continue to live. But you have to prove yourself to me. Because I test you like I test your ancestors. I'm going to test you. Deuteronomy chapter number 13. I'm going to see if you're going to listen to another God. That's the number one thing I'm going to find out is if you love me. If you don't love me, I'm going to find out. If you're not going to do what I'm saying, I'm going to find out. But you will not enter the land of Israel if I find that you decided that you really don't want to be tamed. If you don't want to be tamed, you ain't going in. And that's your choice.
Hey, Moses being the greatest prophet of them all, and he didn't get to go. So
He didn't go in. Tell us why he didn't get to go in.
Hey, man, because he didn't do everything that Yah told him. He said, smite the waters. Moses smite the rock. And a few other list of things.
Yeah.
I'm saying he didn't do absolutely everything that, the Most High specifically told him to do to a T.
He said, and that's what you just said. You said to a T, that's where our problem is, because he said you didn't sanctify me in front of these people. I told you to speak. And you, okay. So previously there's two occasions. The first one, he did tell him to smite the rock in chapter number 16 of Exodus. He did tell him, 17 of Exodus. He told him, go ahead, hit the rock. But this in particular time, Yah has said, don't hit it.
Right.
He wanted to show the people the difference that all I need to do is speak. But instead of him sanctifying Yah, he joined himself to Yah and says, are we supposed to bring water out of this rock for you? So what he did is he took a position to dishonor Yah in front of the people and put himself in front of what Yah said. And as a result of that, Yah says, you can't go into the land because you didn't sanctify the people. That was my opportunity to show the people of Israel that I am with them. Because the first time they wanted to know, was I with them? So I told you to hit the rock so the water can come out. Right. They thought that was a magic trick. So now I said, instead of hitting it, let me just say it now, just so they can know that I'm with them.
Right.
And you didn't do that. You robbed me of the opportunity of my people to know that I was with them. And because you did that, because you stole that from me, you're not going into the land, you or your brother.
For that second, he wasn't consecrated.
Oh, and we just read tonight that he is the most faithful of Yah's entire house. So Yah is telling us something. He's saying, if I did it to him, if I asked you to sanctify me, and I told you to do that, and I gave you some basic instructions to listen to me, and you wouldn't do it, what makes you think you're going in?
Right.
You're not going in. You're not. So you can play games if you want to. If you're not going to do what I tell you, you're not going. I'm not bringing you there. Like, I cleanse the land. I got to pay the land back at Shabbats. I cleanse the land from all the innocent blood that you shed on it. After I clean it up, you think I'm going to bring somebody back filthy to mess everything up all over again? It's not going to happen. Yah says not one uncircumcised person will place their foot in Israel. So that's why you know that place over there is not the land.
That's right. Say that again, Art.
That's not the land. Yah says not an uncircumcised person will ever step, no unrighteous person will ever in. Yah promises in the book of Isaiah, no unrighteous person will ever step a foot in your land after I cleanse you. That's not the land. You understand? He said there's going to be peace. Is there peace over there? No. He said it's going to be full of all kind of minerals, iron and copper and gold and silver. Is it over there? Is everything beautiful like the Garden of Eden? No, it's rocky. It's ugly. I mean, come on. We're going to keep playing games. Yah says it's going to be like the Garden of Eden when I bring you back. So obviously that's not the spot. All the woods that are mentioned in the Torah are associated with Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, they switched the maps up. They did a whole bunch of stuff. But besides all that, it doesn't matter. What matters is, do you keep the Torah? That's what matters. If you keep the laws, statutes, and commandments.
Sure.
So the language is part of the getting tamed. That's the only way. Because if I didn't show you that, you would have never known that.
Showed a lot tonight. That's all.
You would have never known what the Lamed really does and why it's there. It's not there just to say it. It's there to show you. Look at all the places where this Lamed is. And look where it's attached to. Yah is teaching us along the way. He's prodding us, he's pulling us, and he's saying, hey, this is what it is. This is what it is. But let me share my closing prayer that I give when I close up my other class. I do have other classes, and you guys are welcome anytime to come to any of the classes that I have or whatever. And you let me know if you guys want to do your own group and you want to say, hey, we want to learn the language. What can you show us? I'll start you from front all the way from the alphabet, and we'll continue to do that. It doesn't matter. I will always be available. And that's my word. Okay. So let me see. Let me get out of here right quick. Let me do my closing prayer. Usually when I close, I bring up what they would call and I want to make sure that you guys kind of get, understand, like when we open up, we should always open up with a blessing over Yah's words, because he loves us and he gave it to us. We didn't start off with that tonight. But in the end of everything, there's always an intro and an outro. So our intro was, blessing him for the Torah, which is a Hebrew prayer. What I have here is a Hebrew prayer. It's written in Hebrew. And then what they have, I got it in 3 forms. I got it in English. Okay, so let me show it to you. I got it in English at the top. It's called Blessed Are You, Yahweh. Okay, this is the English part. This section right here is called the transliteration. Okay, it's a translit. Okay, L-I-T, translit, T-L. Okay, and it means that what you do is you take the sounds and you write what you have here in English. So this bet right here is this B, this R right here is this resh is the R, and this cough right here is this K. So you write it out in English so you can understand it. Okay, so it's English and then transliteration. Okay, so what does it mean? All right, so what this says is, let me increase it, and I can teach you guys all this. I got books that when I do teach you, we'll start from the letters, 1 letter at a time, and we'll go from there. It's perfect. It says Baruch atah, okay? Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu, okay? It says Melech ha'alam, Yatzar or Uvarei Koshek Ose Shalom Uvarei Eth HaKol, okay? And basically, what does that mean? Well, the Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu means this. Let me put it right here. The Baruch atah is blessed are you. Okay. That's what that means. Okay. And then we have the next word, which is Yahweh Eloheinu. Okay. So it says Yahweh, and then our is this new right here, and it's Yahweh Eloheinu. Eloheinu means our, and then Elohim. Okay. He's our power. And then it says Melech, and Melech is king. And then they insert this one here of, because that's how you can translate it, Ha'alam, the world. That's how you say the world, Ha'alam. It says he is forming, that's that Yod, and then that Tsar is forming, or is light. And that's that U right here, and Vorei is creating. What does he create? Darkness, which is Koshek. Making, which is Oseh. And then what? Shalom is peace. And then if he's creating again, he's U, and that's that and. And then Vorei is creating. And then Eth is all. And then Hakol. All things. Okay? Eth Hakol. All the things that are being created. That's what Yah is doing. He is blessed, and he's the king of the world. He's forming the light, and he's creating darkness, and he's making peace, and he creates everything. So if there's darkness that's being made, it's not just happening. He's creating it. He's the self-existing one. If there's light, he's creating it. If there's breath, it doesn't stop. That's why he's the self-existing one. If there's peace, he's the one who makes it. If there's evil happening, he's the one that's doing it. He says, I create both things. I make light and darkness. I create good and evil. Yah is the creator of all things. If there's war, Yah says, haven't I done it? He's over everything. And so because he's over everything, including us, you and I got to bow down and say, you're it. You're righteous. And we're your servants. What do you want us to do and say? And that's what we do.
That's right.
Because he's our power. That's why they says our power, Eloheinu. Eloheinu. You are our power. Just like he powers everything else, Israel was powerless without Yah. That's why they call him Eloheinu, because he's their power. He says, when I go into these lands, I'm your power. I'm the one to go give you the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, so the people will know that I put the dread of me on you, so they'll be afraid of you. The fear, and that's why you ask yourself, well, how did these people become slaves and let all these people do this stuff? Our brothers are huge, big, and football players and everything. How did that happen? Because Yah took his power off of us. Well, when we get restated and restored, he's going to put that same fear on us. So people look at us and be like, I don't want no part of this.
Right.
You see? That's what Yah is to us. So I hope you guys enjoyed your lesson today. You know, thank you, Pincus, for bringing me on, Aki. I appreciate you.
Oh, man.
We are going to do some things. You got to keep me motivated. I thought I was too old to lay some tracks down, but it seems like I'm not, now that you've inspired me.
Oh, man, that was the Most High, man. Hey, that was the Most High, man.
Because I'm telling you, boy, you put me in a studio, you put me some beat in there, I tell you, I will rip all night long.
That's what's up.
And my sisters, my occulties, my occult, praise Yah for you sisters. You know, praise Yah for you. Thank you for coming to the class. Hopefully you guys learned something. You have any questions, feel free, you know, to ask during class. You could use your hands, you could raise your hand and anything. I'll answer any questions you have. And if you hear something that you don't agree with, just let me know. And I'll do my best to show you where I got that idea from. I won't say, no, it's just the way it is. No, I will be able to show you what it is.
I need a link. So
You need a link?
yeah, so I can check you out on the other
Oh, I'm
platform.
on YouTube. My channel is called Absolute Knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, Absolute Knowledge
And
of
also,
Torah.
I'm on Facebook.
I'm on Facebook too. Achi'Ka Dawid.
On what?
David, actually. They wouldn't let me change my name.
I'll share his page.
Achi'Ka Dawid.
Yeah, share it with me. Actually.
Share it with them. Yeah. Yeah. But hey, listen, for you guys, because I have a couple other groups. I got people right now. You guys, hey, Pincus, you seen Zion Rising? Is she on your channel?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, Zion Rising. Well, I'm putting a class together for her and her husband, because he wants to meet me, and she's been watching my teachings and stuff, and she's like, hey, I want to introduce my husband to you. So I told her, like, I'll tell you guys, get your group together. You can have as many people you want to. I can hold 150 people on my Zoom channel, and you let me know, and we'll dial in, and I'll do whatever you want. So if you guys got a group, you say, here's our group. We want to start on the basics. Boom, there it is.
Our Bible study group on Messenger.
Okay. Yeah, let me know. And whatever you guys want me to do for you, I'll do.
Oh, praises.
All right.
Well, I gotta go get rid of my wine now.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that. I mean, hey, we found some great, look, we had some gravy, right? My wife was buying this gravy, and we was putting it on our lamb, and we had mashed potatoes. We're like, oh, this is so good. At that time, my daughter was 10 years old, and she said, this tastes too good to be true. She went and she read on the it was a little writing. We didn't see it. And it said it had pork in it. It had pork in it.
Right.
So you got to watch. Yah says, okay, now that I showed you that, I used a child. Now that I've showed you that, it shows that you're off your game. You need to be watching. So anything you do, you go ahead and you research and you examine and you ask questions. That's wisdom. So it is, wisdom is like, okay, so how are these wines processed? See, Israel's like, we can take anything. Y'all says, no,
Yeah, see, I'm basically buying. I'm just trying to support the black own. You know what I mean? And
well, how about this? Call them and ask them, say, hey, tell me the process. Because I know that the normal process is, and you can look this up, those wines are filtered in pig intestines.
Mm.
And you ask them, because I call it a winery. I live by a winery. And I asked them, I said, hey, how do you guys process your wine?
wow, it's sponges everywhere in the
No,
ocean.
it's because the enzymes that are in it, they figured that it is so-called, it's supposed to, help cleanse it a little bit better, I guess. So what they're doing is they're using it, but you got to go for a kosher wine. So you might have to pay a little bit extra, but guess what? You can't drink that other stuff. You got to watch everything, every item.
Get
If
what
they
you ready
if they
for.
say it's beef, you better see if it's wrapped in a casein of pork.
Right.
If it's a chicken apple sausage, it's wrapped in a casein of pork, a pork wrapping. Chicken apple Adele sausages, yeah. You better look and see it says pork casein. You gotta watch everything. Your toothpaste has pork in it.
Yep.
Your toothpaste has pork in it. Your brushes have pork hair, pig hair.
Like hairbrush?
Hair brushes, man.
Yeah, the hairbrushes are the boar hair.
Yeah.
These damn heathens, oh.
Yeah. That's why every menu you go to in every restaurant, you notice it's always sausage and pepperoni and pork. It's all pork is on every menu. It's their meat. That's what they love. And they've been feeding it to us and we've been eating it.
I got a question, Not.
Yes, sir.
Deuteronomy 14, verse
The diet.
yeah. Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 26. Now, I used to study with one of the ox, man. One of the things he brought out was, because we serve the living Elohim, and even though we have a dietary law, he was teaching that, basically, whatever that soul lusted after, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, live. If this is something that you have to do to live, to eat, to survive, for whatever the case may be, go ahead. But he pulled the scripture, Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 26.
Yeah. So he says, give your money, your hakasef, your silver, to whatever in Hebrew, kadasher, the ta'aweh, which are you desires of your heart. And it says for oxen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's babokar, right, which is an oxen, and uvazon, which is a sheep, and for uva yayin, which is wine to drink. And for what? And for whatever desires of your heart, you shall eat there before Yahweh your Eloheka. And you shall rejoice with Santa, you and your household. Right. So in context, okay, so he lists the animals, right? So the animals that he just listed were all clean, right? Which are oxen, the sheep, right? That's if you desire that. And he says, but if you want to drink wine and whatever your heart shall be able to desire before the Most High. So he's not talking about anything that's outside of the dietary laws. There's no, what was he saying? That you can drink, you can have strong liquor if you want, you can have wine if you want, you can do all those things that you want, but in terms of food, this is a set apart diet that we're supposed to have. There's no you can't go outside of that.
Right. That's okay. I got you. That's why he said oxen.
That's why he mentioned oxen and sheep, and then he says anything where your heart desires. Again, letting you know whatever you desire, right? So when he talks about that word desire, okay, remember you got to be careful because now they said desire, right? And they got this word that they're using called awa, okay? That means whatever your heart is whatever you're craving, right? So the things that they were craving is like a desire, But the things that they're craving are the things that Yah says that you can have. There wasn't a provision for that which is unclean. So if he's even insinuating that, he's crazy. You know, it's a verse that says, you know, you can eat it, and those who are the clean and unclean. And a lot of people say, oh, you can eat unclean animals. No, no, no. He's talking about the person who is ceremonial clean, right? Because when you eat the kohanim, their kids had to be clean. And there's certain things that they could eat while they were unclean. Okay. Certain foods they can eat, certain offerings they were able to eat without having to go through ceremonial cleansing. So, and that's for the Leviims. Okay. They can eat certain things at different times, but there's certain offerings that a person who was unclean could not eat. They could not eat it. But he's never making reference to us eating anything outside of what he listed in Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14. So when they say that whatever your heart desires, remember our desires is supposed to be bent on the Torah. So Yah's not saying, I'm going to give you a provision outside of the Torah. So that right there is called wickedness, because you went outside of what I prescribed. Because these are the laws, the statutes, and the rulings and the commandments that you shall keep. They're for you. So when you add anything outside of what he says, right, outside of what he prescribed, that's wicked and that's evil. So anybody who wants to go outside of what he says is wicked.
Thank you for that understanding.
Yeah. And Proverbs 28:3 tells us that anybody who refuses to listen to the Torah is wicked.
Period.
And their prayer is an abomination.
Right.
So the Torah is it. Because okay, what is the Torah? The Torah is the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. They're the rulings, the judgments, and the kukims, and all the appointed times. It's a body. So when he talks about the Torah is the instructions on how to do each one of those things. So the Torah is the instructions on how to execute the judgment. The Torah is the instructions on how to keep the appointed times. The Torah is the instructions. So the Torah gives you all the instructions about those certain things, the kukims, the statutes, and the commandments. They give you the details. So Torah is just an embodiment. That's why he said, write everything in the book of this Torah, which is the laws, the statutes, and the commandments, which are the mitzvot, mishpatim, kukim. All that is part of what Yah said.
Oh, praises. Amen.
Thanks to all the one of Israel. People think the Torah is just a couple of different, writings. No, it's a catalog of how the instructions on how to deal with things. So there's a Torah for the temple. There's instructions. You can see this in chapter number 43, 44, and 45. And what Yah says, here is the Torah of the temple. So Torah is just a book of instructions on how to deal with certain things. There's instructions on how to deal with your foods. There's instructions on how to deal with marriage. There's instructions on how to deal with these things. Not only there are instructions, but there's judgments. If you violate in the marriage, this is what happens. There's statutes. This is when you should wait to get a woman pregnant. This is when she has to wait to come to the temple after her menstrual cycle, after she had a baby. This is what it is. This is the instructions on how to use for the purification. These are the Torah for this, and this is the Torah for that.
Oh, praises.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for that right there. I needed that. But now I gotta go find me some kosher wine.
Go find you some kosher wine.
That's for sure.
That's right.
Man, I love my wines, man. I love my wine.
Yeah, me too. Anything else for you guys?
No, I appreciate you in the class tonight.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no problem, Shalomo. Solomon's frequency. I like it. Frequency. Solomon's. Shalomo.
Sisters, you guys have any questions at all for brother Dawid?
I think they do.
I think she was trying to say something. I can't hear her. All right, I guess not. All praises, all praises.
All praises. All right, well, let me know. Keep me posted.
All right. Yep, I surely will.
All right, shalom, you guys. You have a wonderful evening. Shabbat shalom to you.
Shalom. Man, how'd y'all feel about today's Bible study?
It's very insightful.
Do you know who you are? Do you even know where you come from? Do you even know who the creator of the heavens and the earth is? These are some of the questions that so-called black people ask on a daily basis. And if you ain't know, we are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Black people are the real Jews. We are the biblical Israelites. You want to learn your history? You want to know the truth? Repent and turn back to the Most High. We are Israel, and we have the heir to the throne. Phineas Gad Israel, heir to the throne. Album features The Deacon, Sleepy LaFleur, No Name Servant, Shamaria Ben Israel, China McLeod, Rasta, Mr. Mosley, and many more. Album releases on all online platforms. October 16th, 2020.